going on, guys? Um, One thing I want to mention here lately, my neck, where, oh, for about the last 4 days, maybe 5 days around here, I've been having to use this like crazy on my eyes. My eyes have been burning bad. Even in middle of the day, they're even getting the crust in the corner of it up here, like I've been asleep or something. Uh, I don't know what that is. Never happened to me before in my life. And I'm only 28 minutes from that train wreck. But it doesn't seem to be bothering anybody else, so I ain't going to make any claims. Or at least nobody else is talking about it. Another thing about that train wreck down there. Now, there's three types of people that vote. The ones that vote democratically, or not democratically, those who vote for the Democrats, those who vote for the Republicans, and those who vote for the Libertarians. It's only three, folks. Only three that ever gets any votes. The rent's too high, too damn high party didn't get no votes. The D's Nuts party didn't get no votes. These people that are on one half of the voting teams claim that the other half of the voting team, the Democrats, and let me just say it straight out, the Democrats are now claiming that the people in Palestine, Ohio, where the train wreck happened and the government blew it up and caused all these problems. The left is saying that those people deserve it. They deserve everything they're going through. If they die, they deserve it because they voted for Trump. Because they voted for Trump, these leftist people that didn't vote for Trump claim they deserve everything they're getting from what happened with that train wreck. This is what your country has become, and one half of your government. I've also heard here recently in a few videos white people are more dangerous than wild animals. I've been saying that for a long time. I know when I get out into the woods, or if I get into the ocean, or if I go out in the desert and those animals out there, I know where I stand with those animals. I have no clue until somebody convinces me where I stand with humans. They think they're coming up with something That's never been said before. No, no. I'll trust the animals. I'll trust that I know and understand an animal before I trust that I know and understand a human being. That's a fact. But these guys think, oh, white people are more dangerous than wild animals. And like they're saying something. What? Just white people. It's humans, period. It ain't got nothing to do with the color. It just amazes me how they got to put a color to it. Now, let me tell you something, folks. In this town I live in, when I moved in here, going on about 5 years ago, it was about 6 months after I moved in here. I made a video, and it's on a couple of my channels right now. I was on my own property. Started seeing cops pull up a couple doors down, dealing with a kid. Started recording it, because that's what I was doing at the time. I just moved here. I was hearing about what these cops were doing around here at that time. I was like, what? What? I was flipping out. That's what the people around here was telling me, what the cops were doing. So, first time they started rolling up that when I was around, me and my son sitting out. Now my son's an ex-Iraq. There's something on the screen, folks. I gotta get that off first, buddy. My son's an ex. He was in the Iraq War, folks. In the Marines during the Iraq War. He is a combat vet. Me and him sitting on my porch with my dog outside. And all of a sudden, cops start rolling up on these boys' house that helped us move in. There's 3 boys down there. The day we were moving in, these boys come down. They were helping us. Hey, but you want us to, where do you want? I had a bunch of stuff going out to the barn, coming out of the truck. I was like, hell, just start grabbing. I'll set it down there. You guys run it. Just set it on the floor right there. I'll deal with it. And they were helping us. Well, this is 6 months later. We've been living there a while. These cops rolling in. Well, I didn't know what was going on. But they were rolling in 4 deep on a 13-year-old kid or a 12-year-old kid or something. The kid was sitting on the ground outside the house. You can watch the video. I'm not going into all that, but one of the first cop on that day when all this was happening that came onto my property, he was the first one over to me. When the ambulance lady started yelling at me, telling me to stop recording. I'm on my property, folks. I haven't left my property. I came off my porch, never went past my driveway, never went past the end of my yard. I'm on my property recording what's going on. Now, if I would have known what I know now, things would have went way different. But I didn't know. It took a while before I found out. Just moved here, just moved into the neighborhood, didn't know what was going on. That's another video. But the first officer that came onto my property telling me to turn my camera off. Now, I've been doing, by this time, 15 years of cops taking my rights away. I'm on my own property. I'm saying, oh no, get off my property. Get off my fucking property. I'm screaming it. Time it's over with, there's 4 of them on there. And they're up there talking to my son, too. They asked my son, what's wrong with him? I said, you're on his property and he don't want you here. Don't you hear what he's saying, man? My son's like, he's telling you, you have no right to be here. They finally left. Now, I have a lot of people. It's starting to make me wonder if I'm not on some tourist mapping of this area or something. At Watachee Running Free's house, you can drive by and see him, and here's some of his videos, and here's his channels. I don't know if that shit's going on, folks. I seriously don't. But there's a lot of people that drive by my house at a very slow rate. Some of them even turn around in my driveway. And I know I'm an old man. I'm crazy, I know. I've been here for 5 years. This stuff wasn't happening last year, folks, or the year before. It's starting to happen now. Even pull up right out in front of my house. I don't know what they're doing out there. Makes me laugh. But even now, I even have the 2 cops now. It's been a couple of years now. The 2 cops that had to arrest me over the mask stuff, folks. There was 2 of them. And one of them was the same cop. He was one of the same cops that came on my property in the original video that I did on Boardman Township police officers. And he had to come to my house and arrest me too. He got here, he was the first one here, but he wasn't doing nothing without his partner. He sat down the street and waited. And once I pulled in to my driveway, now they claimed I was running. They claimed at this time I was now fleeing from the cops. No cops behind me. I wasn't speeding, wasn't doing anything. I was driving home. And just as I pull in my driveway, I see this officer sitting down the road. I stop at the end of my driveway and I look, and I'm getting the number off the car. I know exactly who it is. I sit there for a second. Then I go ahead and pull on all the way back to my barn. He has to come on down. They've claimed they're already put an APB out on me to be arrested for fleeing an officer. He's got to come on down. And he does. He comes down. He parks his car, gets out of it out in front of my house, and he comes walking up the driveway next to mine. See, at my house, there's 2 driveways side by side. There's about this much property between them. And it's my neighbor's driveway and mine coming up between the houses. And then hers stops, but mine opens up in the back and goes out towards the barn and stuff. So I got a lot of space out back there. He has to pull up. They're claiming I'm running from the law. I parked my truck, or my wife's car. I was driving my wife's car at the time. I park it by the barn. I pull my gun out of the console and I put it in my pocket. Oh, yeah. I didn't even know they had an APB out on me for fleeing an officer. I didn't even know it. But I had my weapon with me. I got a license, a lifetime license to carry it. They can't do nothing about it. Uh, so I put my gun in my pocket and I go walking up the driveway, and he's already parked out front, and he's coming up next to my driveway and the neighbor's driveway, and he asked me, can I come on your property, Brian? I said, yeah, come on over, Brian. I ain't worried about you. What's going on? He sees my gun in my pocket sticking out, my 9mm. He's going, man, what's going on over at the store and stuff? And he's going, hey, look, Nick's coming, Brian. Nick's coming. And Nick is somebody I kind of trusted most in all the Boardman Police Department. And he works for, he actually works for the SWAT team. He actually works for drug enforcement. He's like special forces stuff, you know. And he's young. I think, he was in the Iraq War too. He was in the Marines as well. And he knows that about my son and stuff. So his father told him about me up here, my Watachee Running Free channel. His father told him about me. And then all of a sudden, my name started coming up in the police department. And so he come by my house one day, and I was sitting out there with the dog, and Nick yelled out, in the police car, he's in his uniform, everything. He drives by. I see him drive by. I'm sitting out there. He goes down, turns around, comes back by, and yells out, Watachee. I said, yeah. This before I knew they really knew who I was. And so I did a video that night, and I said, hey, and I put it out on my main channel. I said, hey, that Boardman Township police officer driving car such and such. I said, hey, you want to talk? Pull your ass in the driveway. We'll talk. He did the very next day. This is how much they were watching my channel, folks. This police department and stuff around here. They still did not know who I was. Nothing was in my name. The cars I were driving, nothing was in my name. They had no clue other than Watachee Running Free and my videos that I was sending to their own police chief and all these other people in the town that they were doing wrong. That's what I was doing with my videos. And but these two officers were partners, and so when he came the night they arrested me, he kept telling me, hey, Nick's on his way, Brian, don't worry, Nick's on his way, he's coming. I'm like, all right, for what? I didn't know they was going to arrest me, and I didn't know why. And so Nick finally got there, and this guy, man, he was worried the night, man. He was special forces and stuff, or even in the Marines, he claimed to be special forces. And then he's out here, he's working for the SWAT team and shit. And we've been waiting for him to get there. And he's been, wherever he was bugging across town to get over here and deal with me. Because he knew me the best, is what they claim. And this guy, I even seen this guy, he was twitching in his eyes and shit because he saw my gun in my pocket. He didn't really know me. He doesn't know anything about what I can do, and he wasn't sure what he could do could stop what I could do. That was the whole thing. And there would never have, and I told him that night, between you two standing here right now, are you guys going to try to kill me? And Nick and him and the other guy said, no. I said, well, my gun, if you're going to try to kill me, I'm going to protect myself. So anything else, you guys ain't got to worry about my gun. And finally, when they told me they had to arrest me for whatever the crap the other sergeant or the other police officer trumped up on me, they still had to arrest me, and they told me we got to do it. We're going to take you down. What we're going to do is book you, fingerprint you, but you're not going to jail. We'll even bring you back home. I said, all right, well, all right, I'm good with that. They didn't have my social security number. That's what they wanted. Well, when they took me down, I went with them. Mike, or I'm trying to keep his name out of it, but the other officer stayed at the house for a minute and apologized to my wife and my daughter for even having to arrest me. But before I left, they said, Brian, I looked at him and I said, hey, you want me to hand my gun to my wife? And Nick asked me, he goes, do you mind if I take it out of your pocket and give it to her? Because they knew it was there. I said, no, go ahead. So he did it. They handcuffed me. They took me down, did it all. And they ended up getting what they wanted. But I already gave it to them. I gave it to their captain, and he didn't even know it, in an email. I gave him my social security number. So now that they have taken it this far, they couldn't stop. They couldn't stop. This officer now, Mike is his name. He comes by just every now and then, and this just happened just a couple of days ago. And this is like what I'm saying about people slowing down. It's like I don't know if my house is on a tourist map or something, or what's going on over here. But even one of my first officers that I run into around here, he comes around the corner just the other day, or I see a police officer coming around, or a car coming around the corner, and I look up. I'm waiting until the number gets into view where I can see it and know who it is. It happened to be one of these officers, and he pulls up right out in front of the house, and he's going, "Man, I've been wondering about you, Watachee." He goes, I figured it was a nice day. You'd be sitting out here with your dog. I hope you don't mind if I stop by. I said, you're all right, man. These are people that were ordered to do things to me that they didn't even want to do. And even Nick, the guy, he's a part of the SWAT and all that. He's the special forces guy around there. He went into the courtroom. I was my own, well, Jesus, and I told them that. In the courtroom, folks, they asked me if I wanted a lawyer. I said, no, I got Jesus. I don't need your lawyers. I got Jesus. I told them that through the whole trial. And when I started calling witnesses they turned half my witnesses against me, folks. Once I demanded subpoenas to go out to the witnesses I wanted in town, that the prosecuting officer or the prosecutor got a hold of them before I got into the courthouse, and he turned them all against me, except for one, and that was Nick Newland. And Nick, in his uniform, the man that arrested me on that night, in his uniform, got up there in that courtroom, swore under oath that I did not break the law. And that's why he wouldn't write the tickets they wanted him to write. But he did arrest me under orders. These guys still come by my house. Well, every now and then, not too often. They just wonder if I'm still alive. Guys, evil is within you and I both. Evil is within everybody. If you let evil control you, what are you going to be? That's why it takes Jesus. That's why it takes the way to get to heaven. Nobody could get past the evil without Jesus. Nobody.